Okay, so part two here, let's recap, maybe start with. So I have this sketch running where if I roll over, as I roll over these pixels, it's getting that position from the mouse X and Y, gets that color from there, loads it, and then we apply that to the ellipse. If I turn my image off, let's just run that. So again, I just think it's highly effective to break this down into just one component, okay? One piece of this puzzle. So this rolls over and I change this. There's a one-to-one kind of correlation to that. I think that's helpful. But what if we wanted to, again, hide this and put a whole bunch of ellipses all over the place in our sketch, and then color those ellipses based on whatever color is down underneath here, okay? So let's work towards that. So I have an ellipse. I'm going to use a whole bunch of ellipses. So right now I'm going to change that to like 5. Okay. And I'm using mouse X and Y, but that's not going to work, right? So I need kind of an X. In fact, what I could do, random width and random height. Okay. Now, if I try to run this, I'm going to run into my first problem is that the function get, or I guess it's a method of pimage, requires integers. So I have to feed it integers one way or the other. The second problem here is if I say random width and height, that would be the random position. Let's go ahead and put integers in there. Let's get this to run. Okay, so if I start getting the random position across this location, I have no way of syncing that up with whatever the ellipse would be, because if I say, well, the ellipse is also going to be a bunch of random ellipses, okay, random blah blah blah. So that's not going to work. What I need to do is set an X and a Y that will be the same for this as it's going to be for that, because what I want to do is say, let's randomly pick a location, let's say right there. Okay, let's figure out what color it is. Let's get that color, and then let's put an ellipse at that exact same location right there, and have a color that corresponds to that pixel below it, right? So what we're going to do is set variables up here independently. So let's say integer x equals random width, and integer y equals random height. Okay. All right, so that's a start. Let's go ahead and just put x and x and y there, and these are going to be x, the same x and y. All right, so we're almost there. Let's go ahead and run that. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I got to convert this. Sorry, my bad. Because random gives us a float. And we could have done this in multiple places, right? I could have just done floats and converted them down there. It's totally up to you. It's just what I decided to do, right? So we keep getting these. Oh, there's the other thing I did wrong. I don't want to do random size. I want random location. So let's make that 5 and 5. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so you can see, or maybe you can see in the screen capture, there's a little tiny ellipse going all over the place. And if we were to slow it down, we might see that on top of there it gets black. Let's take that out of there. Okay, so the reason this is going and going and going, what I need to do is use a for loop because I want to have a whole bunch of points on the screen, right? The other thing too is I don't want my, well, let's just go ahead and do it this way. We'll come to that second point in a second. So integer I equals 0. I don't know, for now let's try 1,000 points and I plus plus. And let's put all that in there. All right, so we can start to see something going on here. You can see a little bit of the word showing up. Of course, this is random all over the place. Let me do a little cleanup here. Okay, so let's recap. So we're generating 1,000 points every frame. We're giving a random x and a random y. We're feeding those x and y coordinates into the into the pixel location to get the color. We're setting it, and then we're going ahead and getting that same x and y location. We're passing it on to the ellipse. So the ellipse at the same pixel location gets colored corresponding to the image. And you see I've hid the image, but it's still reading that color information for SOVA. I think the other thing that's obvious at this point is two things. One, the randomness is a little annoying and every single frame. And two, that's not enough points, right? So let's go ahead and first of all, outside here, let's fix one problem. Random seed, our friend, that will have just one set of random numbers. So it's just going the whole entire time. And you can start to see SOVA is showing up a little bit here, but that's just not enough points. So let's try 25,000. Is that 25,000? Okay. Counting my zeros there. All right. So that's kind of nice. That's interesting. Okay. And again, we're just doing this as a static image. Later on, there's ways that we could add motion to this. So maybe our text would start out this way, and then the little ellipses would wander all over the place. Like, let's see what would happen if I turn off random seed. Right? So you can see because it's drawing so many, the frame rate is pretty slow at this point because we're using the default processing renderer. But that's not bad. So the other thing is, even though we have those in there, what if we let's change this. Let's do stroke. Let's make stroke the color, and let's also make the stroke weight. I don't know, something thick like 3. And we'll leave the fill. The fill is just going to be white now at this point. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Let's stop this from running. So let's say random seed. Turn that back on. All right, so you can see we're drawing ellipses with stroke. They have a white center. And you can see even these pixels that are on the edge where there's a little bit of blending. We're getting these gray values. We're also having the white pixels that are on the outside creating ellipses that are eating into that shape. That's pretty interesting. I like that. That's not bad at all. Fill, and keep in mind we could do something like 200, 0, 0. So now, whatever color we're setting for that graphics buffer, that is being, that's what pixel value we're reading as we set the color for the ellipses. Okay, so I think I'll end there. I think that explains the basics of how to get the color that we want. This could be an image that's in the background. In this case, we're doing it from a buffer that's hidden from us, but it's still there. And then I think the next thing would be thinking about motion.